Namaste, welcome to KTR Guidance. This is your anchor Apurva. Today's episode is all about IT and computer science students. సో వీళ్ళు ఇంజనీరింగ్ చేస్తున్నప్పుడు అసలు ఎలాంటి కోర్సెస్ని చూస్ చేసుకోవాలి, అలానే ఎలాంటి స్కిల్స్ నేర్చుకోవాలి, వాటిని ఎలా అప్గ్రేడ్ చేసుకోవాలి, జాబ్ ఆపర్చునిటీస్ రావాలి అంటే కంపెనీ స్టూడెంట్స్లో ఏం చూస్తాయి, ఆల్సో పర్సనల్ ఇంటర్వ్యూ అలాగే టెక్నికల్ ఇంటర్వ్యూని ఎలా క్రాక్ చేయాలి, ఇలాంటి మరిన్ని టాపిక్స్ డిస్కస్ చేద్దాం. మనతో పాటు స్టూడియోలో ఉన్నారు వెరీ ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్డ్ పర్సన్ అమోఘ్ దేశ్ముఖ్ గారు, అసిస్టెంట్ డీన్ స్టూడెంట్ అఫైర్స్ వాక్సెన్ యూనివర్సిటీ. వారితో మాట్లాడి మన డౌట్స్ అన్ని క్లారిఫై చేసుకుందాం. Hello sir.
Hello ma'am.
Happy to see you on our live.
Thank you, it's my privilege.
All right. Sir, today we are going to discuss about IT and computer science students. So basically my question is, ఇంతకుముందు మనకు ఓన్లీ కంప్యూటర్ సైన్స్ ఇంజనీరింగ్ ఆర్ ఐటీ అని రెండు డిపార్ట్మెంట్స్ ఉండేవి. నౌ దట్ ఎవ్రీ డిపార్ట్మెంట్ ఈస్ డివైడెడ్ ఇంటూ సబ్ కేటగిరీస్ లైక్ కంప్యూటర్ సైన్స్ విత్ ఏఐఎంఎల్, కంప్యూటర్ సైన్స్ విత్ డేటా సైన్స్. సో ఇలా డిఫరెంట్గా వచ్చేసాయి. వాట్ ఈస్ యువర్ కాల్ ఆన్ దిస్?
సో డెఫినెట్లీ ఇప్పుడు చాలా బూమ్ ఉందండి, ఎస్పెషల్లీ వెన్ యూ టాక్ అబౌట్ కంప్యూటర్ సైన్స్, దీస్ ఆర్ ఆల్ కాల్డ్ యాజ్ అలైడ్ బ్రాంచెస్. సో దే ఆర్ ఆల్ aligned with CSE as the core branch, but we have something called as AIML, which is built on top of computer science, as well as you go for data science, as well as cybersecurity. These are the main branches under sub branches that we have under your CSE, and there is a lot of boom in the IT for all these sectors. And when I talk about AI, as you already know, మీరు డైలీ ఫోన్స్లో ల్యాప్టాప్స్లో యూస్ చేస్తుంటారు. ఎవ్రీ అప్లికేషన్ has AIML inbuilt in it. Mainly it is not about only coding things now, it is about predicting about things. For example, oka photo lo oka image chuste dan lopala emem unnai. For example, is there a car, is there a dog, or what are the different things within a picture. That is what basically it's moving towards. It's not only about logical thinking, it is about more about probabilistic nature of things that is going ahead, and that is what AIML is all about. అండి
రైట్, అంటే ఈ సబ్ గ్రూప్స్ ఏవైతే వచ్చేసాయో, సో ఇస్ ఇట్ ఓకే దట్ నేను ఏఐఎంఎల్ మాత్రమే నేర్చుకుంటాను, స్టిక్ ఆన్ అవ్వడం కరెక్టేనా, ఆర్ ఈజ్ ఇట్ వెరీ మచ్ బెటర్ టు హ్యావ్ నాలెడ్జ్ ఓవర్ ది అదర్ టాపిక్స్ లైక్ సైబర్ సెక్యూరిటీ కానీ అదర్ థింగ్స్ ఏమైతే ఉన్నాయో అవన్నీ కూడా నేర్చుకుంటాం బెటర్?
సో నార్మలీ వెన్ ఎవర్ ఐ టాక్ టు మై స్టూడెంట్స్ అండి, ఇట్స్ నార్మలీ యూ షుడ్ హ్యావ్ ఎ టీ షేప్ knowledge. T-shape basically means that you have a deep knowledge about whatever you have chosen. For example, AIML మీరు choose చేశారు. Based on that topic, you will have to ensure that you know what is AIML about, what are the different models you can build with AIML. For example, you have computer vision, how to predict things, disaster predictions. So you need to have core knowledge, you need to have in-depth knowledge about whatever you have chosen. But apart from that, cybersecurity kuda chala important, data science kuda important. CSE, like for example, CSE lo meeku full stack development అని ఉంటుంది. Now full stack development has changed a little bit into something called as ML ops, or basically AI ops, which is nothing but artificial intelligence operations అన్నమాట. So basically one particular subject మీకు in-depth knowledge ఉండాలి, but you should also know other branches also.
Alright. So for a core computer science student, is it okay to learn only just Python or Java? ఏవైతే 4 లాంగ్వేజెస్ ఉన్నాయో అవి నేర్చుకుంటే సరిపోతుందంటారా? అండ్ వాట్ ఈస్ యువర్ థాట్, లైక్ వాళ్ళు ఇంకా ఏం నేర్చుకోవాలి? బికాస్ ఇన్ అనదర్ 5 years, ఇప్పుడే మనం 5 yearsలో చాలా చేంజ్ చూసాం. యాజ్ యూ టోల్డ్, ఎవ్రీథింగ్ ఆటోమేట్ అయిపోతుంది బికాస్ దిస్ ఏఐ హ్యాస్ కమ్. సో నెక్స్ట్ 5 yearsలో వీళ్ళు ఓన్లీ ఆ లాంగ్వేజెస్తో సర్వైవ్ అవ్వగలుగుతారు?
See, it is definitely language నేర్చుకోవడం చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్ అండి, బికాస్ all whatever you talk about AI, ML, data science, cyber security, everywhere this, for example, we talk about Python programming or Java programming, it is being used in all the fields. So programming definitely is a very, very important aspect that everyone needs to know, but we have to go beyond the programming andi. So programming is not enough. Now earlier programming was mainly about logic. If you give some input, you get what is the output. That is the only thing we talk about. But now it is not about only logical skills, it is about probabilistic skills. That means I give some input to a particular program, the program is able to ensure that it is able to predict. Ante for example, I gave you an example just now. For example, you take a MRI scan. When you take a MRI scan, then definitely we can predict diseases like cancer diseases and so on and so forth. So definitely programming language is important, but you have to go beyond that also. Programming language knowing is not enough, but you will have to understand how to use the programming language in the world of AI today.
Alright. So while this AI is being able to write reports, do you think data science will be a safer career option?
Definitely for anything related to data engineering or basically data science, see all the fields that you have nowadays, for example CSE, or you talk about AI, ML or cybersecurity, data is the fuel. So data lekunda we cannot do anything. So the most important aspect of any modeling today or any software that you see today, definitely you need to have data. So you have huge amounts of data nowadays. For example, if you take Google and you take a mobile phone, in a mobile phone, there are so many companies tracking you what you are doing in the phone. There are about 152 or 160 points on which that company can track you what you are doing through the phone. So in that case, when they are able to track what you are doing based on the data in your phone, then definitely it's 100%, it's sure that data is a very important aspect. When you have huge amounts of data, then definitely getting meaning out of that data is very important. And that is the job of a data engineer or basically data analyst. So 100% there's a lot of scope in the industry today that data science is very, very important, because the other allied branches are dependent on data engineers or data analysts. And nowadays it is moving more towards data storytelling only. So you have some data, you tell a story based on the data. There are softwares such as Tableau, Power BI. These are the softwares which are used by data analysts. It will give you some graphs and charts where it will help you understand the data. But beyond only just understanding that data is not enough, but trying to understand and see how best it can be optimized for applications, to clean the data, to make sure that the AI/ML model works well. The data should be clean. So data engineering is going to be there for definitely the next decade only. So it's definitely in boom.
All right. So with all this digital transformation that's happening, so what is digital transformation and how is it going to bring changes in cybersecurity?
So definitely cybersecurity, cybersecurity earlier, it was mainly about trying to see what are the different attacks which are happening based on the previous pattern of things that are happening. For example, mobile use chestunaru. Now you get so many emails, but there are so many times that you get some malicious emails. Now those emails will contain malicious links. You don't know as a user dani meeda click cheyalna leda. You try as a user, you normally just click on a link to see what is there inside the link. But it is detrimental, because if you click on that link, there may be some small software that can be downloaded into your phone or your laptop, and the hackers can track you. So definitely it is not only about understanding what the hacker is doing, but now AI is integrated into it. So now hackers are also using AI. So it's not only the users who are using AI, the genuine users, but even the hackers are using it. So now the war is between AI against an AI. So a genuine user who's using AI and a genuine or the hacker who's using AI also. So war between AI and AI. So we have to see how it goes, but definitely AI is integrated into all the security functions in most of the companies today.
All right. So ఈ continuous learning అనేది ఎంత important, ఎందుకంటే we are all habituated టు బై హార్ట్ థింగ్స్ మనం స్కోర్ చేస్తే సరిపోతుంది అని చెప్పేసి. నేను స్టూడెంట్గా ఉన్నప్పుడు కూడా ఐ హ్యావ్ సీన్ లాట్ ఆఫ్ స్టూడెంట్స్ వాళ్ళ CGPA చూసినా కూడా ఇట్ వుడ్ బి 9.8, మోర్ దెన్ 9. బట్ వెన్ ఇట్ కమ్స్ టు టెక్నికల్ నాలెడ్జ్ వాళ్ళకి దే కాంట్ పర్ఫార్మ్, దే కాంట్ కోడ్ ఎనఫ్. బట్ ఐ హ్యావ్ ఆల్సో సీన్ స్టూడెంట్స్ who is very good at technical skills, but వాళ్ళ CGPA చూస్తే చాలా తక్కువ ఉంటుంది. అండ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఆల్సో వెరీ మచ్ ఇంపార్టెంట్, ఎందుకంటే విత్ ఓన్లీ ద పేపర్ ఆఫ్ షీట్ ఏదైతే మార్క్స్ డిసైడ్ అవుతుందో దాంతోని వీ కాంట్ సర్వైవ్ ఇన్ దిస్ IT నౌ, బికాస్ యాజ్ యూ టోల్డ్ ఎవ్రీ అదర్ డే ఒక కొత్త చేంజ్ వస్తుంది అండ్ యూ విల్ హ్యావ్ టు బీ ఏబుల్ టు అడాప్ట్ టు ఇట్. సో హౌ మచ్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ ఇట్ ఈస్ టు కంటిన్యూస్లీ లెర్న్ థింగ్స్ అండ్ ఉన్న స్కిల్స్ని ఎలా అప్స్కిల్ చేసుకోవాలి? వాట్ ఈస్ యువర్ కాల్ ఆన్ దిస్?
Definitely it's very, very important to upskill in today's market. And as we earlier discussed, knowing a programming language is not enough. You need to upskill yourself. So normally what happens in, for example, you take engineering. So definitely you have some fundamental subjects that you learn in each of the years, but then that is not enough. UGC has given us some guidelines. Universities have to fulfill those guidelines by giving the subjects. So every semester has a few credits, for example 20 or 24 credits. Now that is to ensure that they have the fundamental knowledge of computer science. Now market not only requires fundamental knowledge but also practicality. So when you talk about practicality, definitely today institutions should definitely incorporate AI into learning also. For example, they can build some apps which are personally, they give personal attention to every student. So that is one way. Or for example, we have networking subject in engineering. So for the networking subject in engineering, you can integrate AI. For database management system, you can integrate AI into that. So all these fundamental subjects that we have been learning till now, we also need to ensure that we incorporate AI into that. So there is definitely a calling that you have to upskill yourself, and apart from that, you also see what best you can do through certifications. So a lot of companies nowadays give a lot of certifications, especially in the areas of AI, ML and data science and cybersecurity. So for example, companies like Amazon, Google, Microsoft, all these have some certification programs. So for example, there are institutes who tie up with these companies, and they have certification programs that they write at the end of a particular course. So once you have that certification in your hand, you are basically telling a company that I am able to perform or execute things. It is not only theoretical knowledge, Andy. It is always practical knowledge that counts. And especially in today's world, if you do not have practical knowledge or you do not have practice about things, then it is very difficult to crack a job or an interview in today's world.
ఆల్రైట్, హౌ మచ్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ ఇట్ ఈస్, ఇదైతే మనం ఈ కాలేజ్ ఫేజ్లో ఉంటాము, లైక్ గ్రాడ్యుయేషన్కి ముందు 1 ఇయర్ ఫైనల్ ఇయర్లో ఉన్న స్టూడెంట్స్ కానీ థర్డ్ ఇయర్లో ఉన్న వాళ్ళకి కానీ ఇండస్ట్రీ ఎక్స్పోజర్ అనేది ఎంత ఇంపార్టెంట్? వాట్ ఈస్ రియలీ ఈ ఇంటర్న్షిప్ ఏదైతే మనం పిలుస్తామో, వాట్ ఈస్ రియలీ ఇట్ మీన్స్? అండ్ ఆల్సో సర్టిఫికేషన్స్ మీరు ఇప్పుడు చెప్పారు, ఎలాంటి సర్టిఫికేషన్స్ చూస్ చేసుకోవాలి? బికాజ్ ఐ హ్యావ్ సీన్ స్టూడెంట్స్ గెటింగ్ కన్ఫ్యూజ్డ్. వాళ్ళు ఈసీఈలో ఉంటారు, బట్ దే డోంట్ నో దట్ దే ఆర్ డూయింగ్ అ సర్టిఫికేషన్ రిగార్డింగ్ సిఎస్సి, అండ్ సిఎస్సి వాళ్ళకి తెలియకుండా మెకానికల్కి సంబంధించింది కూడా చేసి ఉంటారు, బట్ దట్ ఈస్ ఆఫ్ నో యూజ్. వాళ్ళ ప్రొఫైల్ రేపొద్దున ఈ ప్లేస్మెంట్స్కి వెళ్ళినప్పుడు దే విల్ బి క్వశ్చనింగ్, వై డిడ్ యూ చూస్ దిస్ ప్రాజెక్ట్, లైక్ ఇంటర్న్షిప్ ఇది ఎందుకు చేశారు అని. సో వాట్ ఈస్ యువర్ గైడెన్స్?
Definitely nowadays what happens is the industry is moving more towards interdisciplinary. You are a mechanical engineer, civil engineer, electrical engineer, CSE engineer or electronics engineer, it matters to a certain extent. But beyond that, definitely your knowledge about computers, your certifications matter more to them.
Okay.
Because there are so many graduates who are from different allied branches, like core branches like mechanical and civil. They have done certification programs and they are into core computer science.
Correct.
So even today also, you take UGC. UGC is supporting a lot in interdisciplinary research. So for example, you have studied in engineering a computer science subject. In masters you have done electronics, but you want to do your PhD in mechanical, you can do that today. But earlier it was thought that okay, whatever core subject you started with, that is the same subject you choose in masters as well as your PhD. But it's not like that nowadays. A mechanical engineer who graduated maybe in 2015 or so, now who has done PhD in CSE, can always teach as well as get into IT sector of CSE. So this is definitely how the shift is happening. For example, you take JNTU. If you had a BTech degree in CSE and a master's in electronics, you cannot teach an engineering graduate unless you are having a master's in CSE only. But now that has shifted. There is something called as NPTEL that the government provides now. Swayam NPTEL. So these are courses that are offered by the government, and these courses are taken by the faculties by the allied branches such as mechanical, civil and all, where there are 3 to 4 fundamental subjects. They can write the answers, or they have to fulfill the exams criteria, and once they pass those exams, they can always teach a CSE graduate. So that is where the shift is happening. So interdisciplinary in today's world is where it is shifting. It is not only core CSE or core ECE. Even if you see it nowadays, in my research also, I am doing my research in the area of cybersecurity. But when I do cybersecurity research, there are so many people who have come from the other backgrounds such as ECE or electrical or mechanical, who are also doing research in the area of cybersecurity. That's absolutely fine nowadays, and that is what even companies are looking for. The most important point here is their domain knowledge. So the companies are not only looking for these core areas, but apart from that, you should know as a domain. For example, you are from electrical engineering, you need to have the domain knowledge in that. Or you are from mechanical engineering, you need to have a core domain knowledge. AI can be applied to anything now. So you have people coming from different disciplines. It's absolutely not a problem. IT is welcoming them.
స్టూడెంట్స్ ఫైనల్ ఇయర్లో ఉన్నప్పుడు ద మేజర్ థింగ్ వాళ్ళకు ఉన్న స్ట్రెస్ ఏంటి అంటే హౌ టు క్రాక్ దిస్ ఇంటర్వ్యూ, టెక్నికల్ ఇంటర్వ్యూ క్రాక్ చేయడానికి, అండ్ ఆల్సో ఆఫ్టర్ దాట్ దే డూ హ్యావ్ పర్సనల్ ఇంటర్వ్యూ ఇఫ్ ఐఎమ్ నాట్ రాంగ్. సో ఈ ఇంటర్వ్యూస్ క్రాక్ చేయాలి అంటే వాట్ ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ దే హ్యావ్ టు ఫాలో?
So nowadays the interview has shifted a little bit. It is not only like normally conventionally earlier మీకు ఒక 3 rounds ఉండేయండి. First round was maybe a technical or maybe a discussion, group discussion round or an aptitude round. Second would be a technical round and third will be a HR round. But that shift is happening now to not only these kind of things, but they are actually looking for a practical experience that the student has or not. For example, you take a particular website called as GitHub. GitHub is a repository or a website where students ఎప్పుడు ప్రాజెక్ట్స్ చేస్తారు ఫైనల్ ఇయర్లో థర్డ్ ఇయర్లో ఈ ప్రాజెక్ట్ని అప్లోడ్ చేస్తారు గిట్హబ్లో. ఆ గిట్హబ్లో అప్లోడ్ చేసినప్పుడు కంపెనీస్ కెన్ యాక్చువల్లీ సీ ప్రాక్టికలీ ఆ స్టూడెంట్ ఏం చేశాడని. సో వాట్ ఆర్ ద స్కిల్ సెట్స్ దట్ ద స్టూడెంట్ హ్యాస్ డెవలప్డ్ is what the companies can look through this particular portal. GitHub portal is one of the examples, but there are so many other portals. For example, there is a portal called HackerRank. HackerRank is a portal or a website where students can attempt some programming questions, and based on that they will get some certifications as well as stars. Now based on these the companies tomorrow get to know what skill sets that the student has. Based on the skill sets, tomorrow when the student is getting into the company, they are able to decide what role to give the student exactly. So definitely the shift is of more practicality now. It is not about just having some technical one-on-one interaction that you have normally maybe about few years back, but now in the last couple of years this has completely changed. For example, I'll give you an example. There was a company called Suhora in Noida. So in our university, Woxsen University, there was about 10 students who applied for it. Apply చేసినాక వాళ్ళ కంపెనీ ఏం అడిగారంటే యూ హ్యావ్ టు డూ సమ్ ప్రాక్టికల్ కోడింగ్. సో వాళ్ళకి ఫస్ట్ రౌండ్లోనే వాళ్ళకి ప్రాబ్లమ్ స్టేట్మెంట్స్ ఇచ్చారండి, రియల్ వరల్డ్ ప్రాబ్లమ్ స్టేట్మెంట్స్ ఇచ్చారు. నౌ స్టూడెంట్ సేస్ దట్ మీకు యూ హ్యావ్ నాలెడ్జ్ ఆఫ్ ఎంఎల్. ఆ ఎంఎల్ని మీరు ఎక్కడైనా అప్లై చేశారా అని వాళ్ళు చూడాలని, దట్స్ వాట్ దే వాంట్ టు సీ. So that is when the students problem statement తీసుకొని they had some data sets that they had built, and based on that they had given about 2 days to work on the project, and after working on the project they had to submit it to the company, and the company took about 3 to 4 days to get back, and based on the project outcome they have selected the candidates. So that is where it is moving towards. So all the students need to have a lot of practical knowledge. It is not only having theoretical knowledge, but practically మీరు ఎక్కడ అప్లై చేస్తున్నారు, ఎలా అప్లై చేస్తున్నారు, ప్రాజెక్ట్స్ మీద ఎక్కువ ప్రాజెక్ట్స్ మీద పనిచేయాలండి. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ నా NEP 2020 టెల్స్ దట్ రైట్ ఫ్రమ్ ద ఫస్ట్ ఇయర్ టిల్ ద ఫైనల్ ఇయర్ ప్రాజెక్ట్స్ చేయాలి. నార్మలీ ఇంతకుముందు మేబీ అబౌట్ 5-6 years బ్యాక్ వీ హ్యాడ్ ఓన్లీ one final year project, one mini project and a final year project. But now it is that first year has something called as a societal project, second year has something called as a applicative 1 project, third year has applicative 2 project, fourth year has a capstone project. అలా సెమిస్టర్ ప్రాజెక్ట్స్ కూడా ఇన్బిల్ట్ ఉన్నాయండి ఇప్పుడు కరికులంలో యాజ్ పార్ట్ ఆఫ్ NEP. సో NEP basically said that all the branches that we have, they also have to integrate projects into them. So right starting from the first year till the final year, every year needs to have projects inbuilt. Now apart from that we also have something called as PBL and project based learning. Now every student is expected to do a project in a particular subject now. Not only teaching learning process in the subject, but you have to involve an industry expert for that subject, and that subject, for example 1 or 2 modules or 1 or 2 units in that subject can be handled by a professor from an industry. As well, they can do projects as part of that particular subject. For example, if you take our university, దాంట్లో ప్రతి స్టూడెంట్ని ఆ పార్ట్ ఆఫ్ దట్ పర్టికులర్ సబ్జెక్ట్ వాళ్ళకి ప్రాజెక్ట్ చేపిస్తామండి. ఆ ప్రాజెక్ట్ చేసినాక వీ గివ్ మార్క్స్ బేస్డ్ ఆన్ ద ప్రాజెక్ట్. సో దేర్ ఇస్ అ లాట్ ఆఫ్ మార్క్స్ ఆర్ వెయిటేజ్ గివెన్ టు ప్రాక్టికల్ ప్రాజెక్ట్స్. సో వెన్ యూ గివ్ దిస్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ పుష్ ఆర్ అ వెయిటేజ్ ఫర్ ప్రాజెక్ట్స్, డెఫినెట్లీ దే విల్ బీ మోర్ రెడీ ఫర్ ఇండస్ట్రీ. దట్ ఈస్ వాట్ ఇండస్ట్రీ రిక్వైర్స్ టుడే.
రైట్. సో మీరు ఇప్పుడు PBL గురించి మెన్షన్ చేశారు, దట్ ప్రాజెక్ట్ బేస్డ్ లెర్నింగ్ అని చెప్పి. ఇది ఫాలో చేసుకొని హౌ కెన్ దీస్ యూనివర్సిటీస్ ఆర్ కాలేజెస్ వాళ్ళ కరికులంని డిజైన్ చేయొచ్చు సో దట్ ఈ IT కానీ CSE ఆర్ ఎనీ అదర్ కంప్యూటర్కి సంబంధించిన నాలెడ్జ్ ఇచ్చే కోర్సెస్ ఏవైతే ఉన్నాయో వాటిని ఇంకా ఎలా ఇంప్రూవ్ చేస్తే స్టూడెంట్కి కంప్లీట్గా ఒక టేక్ ఓవర్ వస్తుంది that he can, get into this IT industry?
Correct. So project-based learning, apart from project-based learning, there is one more concept that most of the universities should incorporate, something called as tracks. I mean, this can be discussed, and obviously it can be incorporated in most of the institutions now. So normally what happens is any graduate, by the time he reaches final year, some of the graduates are not knowing what they want to do. If they are not placed, then రేపు ఏం చేయాలని వాళ్ళకి తెలీదు. So to ensure that they don't have this issue, we need to ensure that we give them guidance right before they graduate to know where they want to actually land up after graduation. So for example, institutions, they can incorporate something called as tracks. For example, there is something called as entrepreneurship track. ఇప్పుడు there are so many startups mushrooming nowadays, and the government is giving a lot of push for startups. And there is a huge amount of funding that the government is ready to give for startups. Recently there was an article that I read in the news where the government has sanctioned $12 billion for startup companies, as well as if they have some startup ideas. So when you have such kind of funding that the government is supporting you with, then definitely there is going to be a lot of interest by the students also. So entrepreneurship has to be incorporated in every institution. There are a lot of students, they know they learn the basic fundamental knowledge which is there as part of that particular CSC or whatever they have chosen. But apart from that, there are a lot of students who want to do new things, like they have new ideas. దాన్ని స్టార్టప్ని కన్వర్ట్ చేయాలని చాలా మంది చూస్తారు. So when that is there, definitely there has to be some incorporation within the syllabus, within the institution, that entrepreneurship should be there. So for example, in our university, third year lone students ni we tell them to choose a particular track. So there is something called as entrepreneurship track, there is something called as industry track, there is something called as PSU track for government, and then there is something called as research track. So these are the four fundamental tracks that the students can choose, and these can be also incorporated in other institutions where this will actually, for example, in third year if they choose one of these tracks, there will be one or two extra subjects that they will have to take as part of that semester. And by the time they reach fourth year, they already have prerequisites to go for higher studies. For example, they want to crack PSU exam, IAS exam, for example. So in that case, for the competitive exam, we have in-house trainers that we get as part of that particular track. Trainers will train for this particular competitive exams, and by the time they reach final year, they can easily crack those exams. Similarly, you talk about research. Research nowadays, UGC has already given a rule where a BTech student can directly apply for PhD. A BTech student does not have to do a master's. He can directly go for PhD. Now, a good student in BTech, if he already has some prerequisite subjects that he can complete, for example, if you go for PhD, there is something called as pre-PhD. This pre-PhD has about 4 to 5 subjects that they have to clear in the first year of PhD, which is called as pre-PhD. Once they clear, they can start actually publishing papers and everything else. Now, in engineering or any other graduate programs, you can incorporate some research subjects as part of these tracks. For example, in the research track, there is something called as research methodology. RM is one of the most important subjects that every PhD graduate knows or needs to know. So when I say this PhD, these 4 subjects or 4 or 5 subjects can be completed at the graduation level itself. When you can complete it at the graduation level, then it becomes very easy for you to start with your research directly when you go for PhD. So when you can incorporate these within the graduation itself, and the institutions can definitely incorporate these. Apart from that, you have industry track. So in our university, we do something called as 4x4 training. So there is something called as soft skills training, aptitude training, technical training, interview training that we do, which is called as 4x4 training. It's a rigorous training that we do for about 2 months so that they are ready for the industry tomorrow. So these tracks have to be incorporated in such a way that before they graduate, at least 1 or 2 years before they graduate, they understand where they want to go after the graduation is completed.
Alright. So ఒక 10 years ago, 20 years ago మనం చూసుకున్నట్లయితే when these computers are booming and ఇవన్నీ వస్తున్నప్పుడు we were so worried that computers might take away our jobs అనేది. Now that the same scenario is happening, AI is booming like anything else. So and also ఇండియాలో ఇంకా ఎక్కువగా మనం చూస్తున్నాం, because I don't know, like other countries లో కంపేర్ చేసుకుంటే ఇండియా is also డెవలపింగ్ చాలా బాగా డెవలప్ అవుతుంది. సో ఇప్పుడు అనదర్ 5 years మనం చూసుకుంటే విల్ ఏఐ రియలీ టేక్ అవే యువర్ జాబ్ ఆర్ ఈజ్ ఇట్ జస్ట్ ది ట్రెడిషనల్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ జాబ్స్ దట్ విల్ బీ టేకెన్ అవే? అండ్ ఎందుకంటే ఇప్పుడు కంప్యూటర్స్ మనం 10 years చూసుకుంటే ఇప్పుడు కంప్యూటర్స్ కొత్త జాబ్స్ని క్రియేట్ చేశాయి. ఇన్ఫ్యాక్ట్ దానికోసం మనందరం పరిగెడుతున్నాం. సో నౌ ఈజ్ ఇట్ గోయింగ్ టు ద సేమ్ సినారియో ఆర్ ఈజ్ ఇట్ గోయింగ్ టు బి డిఫరెంట్?
So definitely AI is going to disrupt the jobs. It is not going to take away the jobs, but every person who is in IT should know how to use AI in their jobs.
Okay.
So if you do not know AI, then it is very difficult for you to sustain in any industry now. So that's what we had discussed earlier. AI is there in every field now.
Correct.
So if you know AI, so AI will not take away jobs, but AI will enhance your job functioning. It will help you function better, because for example మీరు coding తీసుకోండి, there are a lot of, for example, I write a lot of code and I love coding. So in my last 12 years of my career, I have written a lot of applications coding in Java, Python programming and so on. So I can tell you this firsthand. I used to write 100 lines of code. Maybe it used to take maybe 2 to 3 days for me to write the logic completely. But nowadays, you take a Copilot. For example, there is GitHub Copilot, Microsoft Copilots are there, which is AI Copilots, which will automatically give you suggestions of what you can write in the code. Now, that 100 lines of code can be written within a minute now. And what you as a student or a IT professional can do is think more on how to have more security within the code, how to build the system architecture, how to design the system. That is where people have to concentrate more on. AI is not going to take away jobs. AI is going to just ensure that things are done little faster, but అందరూ దాన్ని అడాప్ట్ చేసుకోవాలండి. Going ahead, every field has to adopt this AI. If they don't adopt this AI, it's going to be very difficult going ahead, especially when you talk about graduates who are looking for careers in mechanical, civil, any other fundamental areas also. AI has to be incorporated. They have to learn it.
Alright. And one more ఏమంటారు మిస్కన్సెప్షన్ ఈజ్ లైక్ వెన్ వీ టాక్ అబౌట్ ఏఐ ఎంఎల్ ఇవన్నీ విన్నప్పుడు చాట్ బాట్స్ అని అనుకుంటారు. సో ఈజ్ ఇట్ ఓన్లీ చాట్ బాట్స్ ఆర్ వాట్ ఎల్స్ ఇస్ దేర్ లైక్ ఈ ఏఐ ఎంఎల్ గురించి మాట్లాడినప్పుడు?
So it's not only about chatbot. Definitely we started knowing about this ChatGPT in 2021 or 22, where we used to basically chat with that particular GPT and we used to get some output. So it's basically called as prompt. You give a prompt, you write a prompt. Based on the question, it will give you the answer. So prompt engineering is one of the areas definitely which is very, very important today. So if you see a lot of job opportunities are available, prompt engineering is one of the jobs for sure. But it is not only prompt engineering. It is not only about ChatGPT. It is not only about a chatbot. It is about ensuring that you are able to predict. For example, you take about IT infrastructure. You take a server. The problem is earlier when this AI was not there into picture, people used to monitor if the server is functioning properly or not, is it healthy or not, internet connection is proper or not, traffic baunda leda. They used to ensure manually how things are working. But when AI came into picture now, the server, if the server will crash or not, AI is able to predict. In the next half an hour or 1 hour, is the server going to crash or not? This prediction it is able to give. Now because of this, definitely you can plan better. For example, you take about a server, there is a lot of traffic that is coming into that particular server. If that server is going to fail in the next half an hour, you can divert the traffic to some other server. Ee prediction chala important andi, so that the functioning of that particular whatever that server is supposed to do, it does not hamper whatever job is going on in that for that particular traffic. So for example, I connect to search engine, Google search engine. Now imagine that server is not available for me. Now in that case, if I'm not able to access that particular Google server, just imagine for at least 5 minutes they are not able to access. It is very difficult to even think that we can live without a Google search for 5 minutes. You know that you use Google search so much, so you are dependent on it. You are able to get things from it. So if a server is not available for you to get the outcomes or whatever you require, then it's very difficult. So AI is helping you to predict that this server may fail. And if you are able to predict it, then definitely you can take some course of action, or the AI can take a course of action to ensure that there is a smooth running of functioning of all the things.
Sir, is it really true that IT-లో low code, no code jobs untaya? Because when you said you love coding, right? Also contrary to that, I hate coding. So I'm a computer science graduate myself, but still నాకు కోడింగ్ చేయడం అంటే అంత ఇంట్రెస్ట్ ఉండదు. ఇలాంటి స్టూడెంట్స్ కూడా చాలా మంది ఉన్నారు, బట్ దే ఆల్సో వాంట్ టు బీ ఇన్ ఐటీ. సో లో కోడ్, నో కోడ్ అనే జాబ్ ఆపర్చునిటీస్ ఉంటాయా? ఇన్ కేస్ ఉంటే వాళ్ళకున్న అడ్వాంటేజ్ ఏంటి, వీళ్ళకి ఉన్న డిసడ్వాంటేజ్ ఏంటి, అండ్ ఈజ్ ఇట్ రియలీ ఇంపార్టెంట్ టు be on the safer side?
Definitely, there is a lot of scope for low code, no code, definitely. The reason is AI again.
Okay.
So, as we have AI today, which is helping you write the code, you as a person do not have to code all the redundant, mundane code. For example, earlier I gave an example, there are 100 lines of code. Now, out of those 100 lines of code, 70 lines of code are almost repeating for my application. For example, I have 10 applications that I want to build. Padi application lo, there are 70 lines of 70 or 80 lines. I'm just giving an example. It may be more, thousands of lines of code, but I'm just giving a small example. So when I say 70 lines of code, that is repeated in all the applications.
Correct.
This 30 lines of code that we have to work with is where we have to understand, we have to make sure that it is more optimized, security is inbuilt and all that stuff. So when you do not know coding in today's world, it's fine. You can definitely write code using the help of AI, but yes, it is always a good idea to understand how to write coding, because tomorrow, even if the AI generates the code, you will need to know if the code is optimized, if the code is having all the security protocols, is the code fast enough to ensure that the applications are working smoothly. Now this engineer, developer, a software developer can only do that. So definitely there is definitely a scope that if you do not know coding or you have low code, it's absolutely fine, but then it is always a good idea to have understanding of how to use Python programming and actually code, because if the AI generates it and you don't know what it is generating, then it might be a problem for you in the long run.
Alright. Okay. Also, ఇప్పుడు కంప్యూటర్ సైన్స్ అండ్ ఐటీ స్టూడెంట్స్కి ఈ కోర్సెస్ చేస్తే బాగుంటుంది, ప్లేస్మెంట్స్ మంచిగా వస్తాయి అనే కోర్సెస్ కొన్ని మెన్షన్ చేయండి.
In today's world, definitely when we talk about different courses, we need to ensure that it is not only about course, it is about certifications. So when I talk about AI ML, so for AI ML we have something called as certifications given by Google. So there's something called as Google ML Engineer certification. There is AWS ML Engineer certification. So different companies have different certifications for AI ML students. Similarly, for data science also, you have Google Data Analyst certification. You have Microsoft Data Engineer certification. So every company has its own certification for AI ML, data science, as well as cybersecurity. So when I talk about cybersecurity, I have something called as CompTSIA. That is one of the most widely known certifications, very popular certification that every student should be going through. So definitely it is not only the subjects that you have as part of your graduation, but certifications are very important, and some of the certifications you should go ahead and crack, especially by the time you reach the 4th year of your graduation. If I talk about engineering, then in that case you should plan some certification programs which will give you a step ahead for your career.
Alright. This quantum computing, edge computing, ఏమంటారు AR, VR, so what are these things, and artificial intelligence ని ఇవి టేక్ ఓవర్ చేస్తాయి?
So AI is already incorporated in them, Nandi. So AI is not working apart from the AR, VR or the edge computing. AI is being incorporated in these technologies now. For example, when you take this edge engineering, now edge computing, when you talk about edge computing, in this edge computing what happens is you talk about this AI ML models that are being built. These AI ML models normally work on a server. They run on a server. The client will connect to the server and he will be able to get the outcomes from that particular server itself. But when I talk about edge computing, we are talking about models running in a phone. A small phone has a very less memory, right? So if you want to ensure that these AI ML models are running on a particular phone with very low memory capacity, then definitely edge computing is very, very important. And AI is already being built, incorporated within edge computing also. One of the examples is federated learning, FL, federated learning. So when I say federated learning, it is about running these AI models within the client's mobile phones itself. So you don't connect to a particular company's server, but the models are running locally on your phone. So this ensures that there is security, there is privacy of your data. So that is already been incorporated in this particular edge computing. Apart from that, AR VR. Recently, we have had a new Ray-Ban goggles that Meta has released, AR VR goggle. Similarly, there are many other companies which are working on. One of the most popular ones is Apple computer vision goggles, which has been given. So దీంట్లో కూడా AI already incorporate చేశారండి. Without AI, this cannot be available to the market nowadays, because AI is essential for these products to actually run. Similarly, in cybersecurity also, AI is also incorporated in cybersecurity nowadays.
Alright. So this is a very fun question. We have seen self-driving cars. So మనకి డ్రైవర్స్ అవసరం లేకుండా అయింది. అండ్ ఆల్సో ఇప్పుడు ఏంటంటే మోడలింగ్లో కూడా వచ్చేసింది దిస్ ఆర్టిఫిషియల్ ఇంటెలిజెన్స్ దట్ మోడల్స్ని రీప్లేస్ చేసి దట్ దే ఆర్ ఓన్లీ పుటింగ్ దిస్ మనకి రోబోస్ లాగా ఎట్లా ఉన్నాయో అలా పెట్టేసి దే ఆర్ putting the clothes on them and they are selling the clothes. And also other fields లో when you talk about this different ఫీల్డ్స్లోకి వచ్చేస్తుంది. వాట్ ఆర్ ది అదర్ థింగ్స్ అంటే హెల్త్లోకి ఎట్లా రాబోతుంది, హెల్త్ కేర్లోకి అండ్ ఫినాన్స్లోకి ఎట్లా రాబోతుంది? హౌ ఇస్ ఇట్ గోయింగ్ టు బి అనదర్ 10 years లోపు ఇఫ్ యూ టాక్?
Yeah, definitely. When you talk about healthcare, అండి, there is going to be huge requirement for AI, because already it is being incorporated. When I say,
sir, is it really true surgeries అనేవి perform చేయబడతాయి ఫ్యూచర్లో అనేది? Is it really true?
It is possible, అండి, but definitely the amount of error that can happen when you do surgeries is very minimal. Maybe we have not reached that stage yet completely, because when you talk about AI models, there will be something called as false positives, అండి. Even a small percentage, 1% of false positive can hamper surgery. So we may not be there yet, but I think definitely when you talk about quantum computing or any other technologies where we can incorporate AI, we can have much better accuracies, because the amount of false positives, the issues that may happen during surgery has to be reduced in so much that there is absolutely no false positive at all. And especially when you talk about health, if something happens to that person, it's a problem.
Correct.
So in healthcare, definitely, for example, nowadays it is being used for MRI scanning only. So there are a lot of doctors who are pathologists or many other doctors. They take the MRI scans and they are giving it to the AI engineers, and the AI is able to predict if this particular person has cancer or not.
Oh.
So this is how it is being used in healthcare and many other areas within healthcare also. Apart from that, fintech, as you mentioned, finance. So there is a lot of fraud that is happening in finance also. So to detect fraudulent transactions, it normally requires some time. So AI is able to get that to milliseconds, and so for example, for a person to understand there is a fraud detection or a fraud happening, it may take hours or days. But now, because AI is being incorporated, it takes milliseconds or few seconds. So definitely AI is there in your healthcare, in fintech.
And how about education?
Within education, definitely there is something called as personalized apps that are being built. There are a lot of companies which are coming with personalized apps, where within the personalized apps, a particular student can log in based on how the student is performing. Is the student able to answer everything? Is the student not able to answer a few questions? Based on that, it can give you some fundamental outcomes, or basically it can give you personalized replies for the apps. And these apps, what we are talking about, are basically personalized apps, and this AI is able to do that in education.
Alright. ఈ స్టార్టప్స్ ఆంటర్ప్రెనర్స్ ఎలా అడ్వాంటేజ్ తీసుకోవచ్చు దిస్ కంప్యూటర్ సైన్స్ స్టూడెంట్స్ అయి ఉండి ఐటీలో ఉన్నప్పుడు స్టార్టప్స్ అండ్ ఆంటర్ప్రెనర్స్ హౌ మచ్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ ఇట్ ఈస్, అండ్ ఆల్సో ఇండియాలో నెక్స్ట్ 5 yearsలో వీళ్ళు ఏ విధంగా ఇంప్రూవ్ అవుతారు?
So definitely entrepreneurship is one of the biggest areas that India is pushing towards now. As you have seen the last couple of years, there is huge number of unicorns, many number of unicorn companies that have mushroomed, they have come up. So ala unnappudu, the reason is because obviously government is giving push for this, and definitely there is the main advantage that we have in India is the bandwidth of the age group that we have of students is normally between around 25 to 30. That is a lot of people that we have in a 1.4 billion India that we have. 60 to 70% is the age group between 25 to 30. So when you have that age group and so many people are there, definitely you have a huge audience and a market. So a lot of European countries, lot of American countries are looking forward to India to ensure that they are able to tap the market. So one of the examples is recently Apple has made a huge profit within India itself. Similarly, ChatGPT has also made huge profits in India. The first or the second biggest market for most of the companies nowadays is India. Because of the amount of market, the population that we have, definitely India is going to be the driver in the next 5 to 10 years only. So lot of startups which are coming up in space technology, for example, startups in healthcare, startups in defense, lot of pushes being given in defense area. So definitely when there are so many students getting involved in their startups and the push is being given from the government, I am sure in the next 5 years you're going to see the golden era in India.
Lakhs of students every year pass out అవుతున్నారు ఇండియాలో, అండ్ ఆల్సో దిస్ ఏఐ ఈజ్ బూమింగ్ రైట్ నౌ. అండ్ ఆల్సో వన్ మోర్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ థింగ్ ఈజ్, మీరు అన్నట్లుగా ఈ కాలేజ్లో ఉన్న కరికులంలో దే డోంట్ యాక్చువల్లీ టీచర్స్ హౌ టు యూజ్ దిస్ ఏఐ బికాస్ దట్ వాజ్ నాట్ దేర్ ఫ్యూ ఇయర్స్ ఎగో. సో దాన్ని ఎగ్జాక్ట్గా ఎలా యూస్ చేయాలి, మనకు ఉన్న వర్క్లో దాన్ని ఎలా ఇన్కల్కేట్ చేసుకోవాలి అనేది ఐ థింక్ ఇట్స్ మోర్ ఆఫ్ సెల్ఫ్ లెర్నింగ్, మనంతటా మనం నేర్చుకోవాలి ఆర్ సమ్వేర్ ఎల్స్. సో వాట్ ఈస్ యువర్ కాల్? ఈ బయటకు వచ్చే స్టూడెంట్స్ అందరూ, పాస్ అవుట్ అయ్యి బయటకు వచ్చే స్టూడెంట్స్ అందరూ కూడా విల్ దే బీ ఏబుల్ టు గెట్ ప్లేస్డ్ ఇన్ దిస్ ఐటీ సెక్టర్, అండ్ వాళ్ళ కెరియర్స్ ఎలా ఉండబోతున్నాయి? ఇండియా యొక్క ఐటీ ఫ్యూచర్ నెక్స్ట్ 10 yearsలో ఎలా ఉంటుంది?
So definitely IT sector in India is going to be booming for the next 5 to 10 years. Now the thing is, I also I want to reiterate, earlier meek already cheppanandi, AI is one of the most important things that everyone has to understand and use. In their daily lives also they are using nowadays. Correct. Unknowingly people are using. For example, if you are writing mail or you are using WhatsApp is able to give you some AI prompts nowadays. You can give a prompt within WhatsApp and it is able to answer a few things. So in that case, similarly, the other, for example, you take Gmail, you take an email portal. It is able to help you write emails. So knowingly or unknowingly, every person, every citizen nowadays in India is using AI. So definitely there is going to be a huge boom in this area of AI. Lot of companies are getting into this area of AI now, and a lot of students have to understand how to use AI to ensure that they are able to crack. So definitely there are going to be a lot of jobs. There is no doubt about that. The misconception that the jobs are going to be taken away is wrong, because obviously as I am already mentioned, right now a lot of companies are going for automation. That means if they require to complete one task, they used to take maybe 40-50 people. Now the AI is doing it for them, and that's the reason they are trying to reduce the amount of workforce that they have right now. But then if a person knows how to use this AI, then definitely there is going to be an opportunity. So every student has to understand in today's world that AI you need to incorporate in your daily life. You need to understand how to utilize this AI, and definitely there are going to be a lot of opportunities in the future.
All right. What are the non-technical skills that are very much important when you talk about communication, critical thinking, and ivanni kuda they come into the play? And most of the time ఏమవుతుందంటే ఇంటర్వ్యూలో they won't be able to converse with the person. That is where usually చాలా మంది బ్యాక్ డ్రాప్ అయిపోతూ ఉంటారు. సో ఈ నాన్ టెక్నికల్ స్కిల్స్ అనేవి ఎంత ఇంపార్టెంట్ నౌ ఇన్ దిస్?
చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్ అండి, చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్. ద రీజన్ ఇస్ బికాస్ మెనీ ఆఫ్ ద కంపెనీ గ్రాడ్యుయేట్స్ దే ఆర్ నాట్ ఏబుల్ టు క్రాక్ ద ఇంటర్వ్యూస్ బికాస్ దే ఆర్ నాట్ ఏబుల్ టు కమ్యూనికేట్ అండి. టెక్నికల్ నాలెడ్జ్ ఉంటుంది, వాళ్ళు మార్క్స్ బాగుంటాయి, దే హ్యావ్ గుడ్ CGPA, బట్ దే ఆర్ నాట్ ఏబుల్ టు కమ్యూనికేట్. క్వశ్చన్స్ ఆర్ బీయింగ్ ఆస్క్డ్ బై ద ఇండస్ట్రీ, but the student is not able to answer or communicate in the right way. So soft skills definitely is one of the major important areas that every student should improve. How to communicate, how to talk in different scenarios. The students should know what is going around them. They should be updated about what is going around them. So soft skills is one of the important tasks. Apart from this, they also are other areas. For example, aptitude, critical thinking. Critical thinking has to be improved. Logical thinking, analytical thinking, ivi chala important. These are all non-technical things, but yes, analytical, logical skills are very important. Soft skills is very important, and definitely institutes should incorporate this kind of training for the graduates at least in the final or the pre-final year, so that the students have better chances to crack the interviews.
All right. And finally, one piece of advice to all the students who's watching this live, students and parents, IT join చేయాలనుకున్న వాళ్ళు, కంప్యూటర్ సైన్స్లోకి రావాలనుకునే వాళ్ళు, సో your piece of advice for them.
So the only advice I can give you is be a learner. The entire life you need to learn as much as you can, because as you have seen in the last 5 years, things have changed rapidly. Technology especially is changing every day. We used to talk about it maybe 10 years back that every 1 or 2 years things are changing, but now every few days things are changing. For example, recently you saw DeepSeek made by China. This was a LLM which was built by China, so that the hardware which is required for you to build an AI model, the amount of hardware required is reduced, and they are able to build very powerful models. So this kind of thing. So definitely one thing is you need to know what is going around your around the world. Technically you need to understand things and ensure that you are always open to learning and understanding what is going around. Interact with industry people, go to conferences, try to see if you can network with people, try to understand in every industry what is going on, identify problems and see if you can give some solution, so that it will always be helpful for the society and for your own growth also.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. It's really a great conversation, and with this we have come to the end. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
ఇది ఇవాల్టి కెరియర్ గైడెన్స్. మరిన్ని విశేషాలతో మళ్ళీ మీ ముందుకు వస్తాం. అంతవరకు చూస్తూనే ఉండండి DD యాదగిరి. దిస్ ఇస్ అపూర్వ సైనింగ్.